Hello, welcome to the channel. Wanted to do a little review on my Fan RC10 Graphite Worlds Edition. Obviously, Associated came out with their re-releases with their gold pans. You know, everything had a 6-gear, and it was not really conducive to racing too much, right? You didn't have any slipper adjustment. Old style diff being on the spur gear rather than a typical diff drive that you have on a conventional car. More for novelty, really, if you took them to the track, and I really wanted to race an RC10 competitively. And when Fan came out with their car, I really fell in love. I thought it had a lot of advantages. Really even comparing it to the just released team car from Associated, and I'll kind of walk you through and show you why. You know, first off is being cost. I think I was able to get this car from, I want to say it was Go Fast Hobbies, on a Black Friday sale for $350, I think, shipped. And not only do you get the car, but you do get some spares in there. You get spare front and rear arms in white. I obviously put the black on here. I think the black looks a little cooler. But there's a number of other things with them that I think outweighs the Associated a little bit. So, you know, the one main thing being it's a graphite chassis versus a pan chassis. And, you know, some people think the pan chassis is better. Personally, I like the graphite. I think on the high indoor clay that we run at MHOR, it seems to do pretty well in hookup. But I did want to kind of take you through my Fan RC10 Graphite. You know, I don't do unboxings. I don't run them in my backyard. I don't do builds. I mean, if you built one RC10, you built them all. So I really wanted to concentrate on kind of the racing aspect and what it's going to take to race this competitively at MHOR. And even though they don't have a vintage class, I race this regularly in 21.5. And this car has finished between 3rd and 5th in the A main consistently after 4 race weekends. So it's got a little bit of use on it. You can kind of tell a little bit by the chassis protector. It looks good on camera, but some scratches, and obviously the black plate, motor plate there, has some wear on it. So one of the first things I did do is, by the way, the JC wing screws are awesome from Jace Concepts. Being metal, they hold the wing wire in a lot better than anything else out there. But I did get rid of the wing tubes because no matter how much I kinked my wire or whatever, my wing didn't want to stand. So I did what everyone does back in 1989 or whatever, and it's Yokomo wing mounts on the back with a set screw. So that holds it in just fine. For that. So that alleviated my wing problem. Actually, the hardest wing problem I had was finding a flat wing. And so this one is an Avid. And so I run Avid wings on both this and my Yokomo 870, which you see in the background there. Waiting on some parts to come in from Japan so we can get that back together. But I broke the front bulkhead, started cracking, so I wanted to tear it down after the last race I had with that. And I intended to do that video first, but wanted to do the Fan RC10 Graphite because if you look on YouTube, there's no real race review of them. You know, people doing an unboxing or Glenn over at RC Legends has a great video on assembly. But no one's really talked about racing them or what it's like. And I think after 4 race weekends, I have enough knowledge to hopefully help people make a decision on what route they want to go. So, this car, you know, I guess starting front to back, did find green springs off eBay. Associated also sells springs that are the correct size for their Element Series rock crawlers that are the correct length. So if you can't find quote-unquote RC10 springs, the Element springs from Associated crawler series work as well too. Front bumper is off eBay. So there's a gentleman on there that sells these. I think they're $5.99 or something. Ben Great has 4 race weekends on it. It's held up really, really well. So I keep that on there. The other thing that you'll see at the front is the weight set. So this is a Dragon Punch RC weight set. There's another one. I just put the bigger weight in for now. I didn't stack the other weight on there, and that seems to be enough for racing at MHOR. The balance and stuff is what I like, so I haven't really added too much weight or anything like that. In the front, just running the wide spindles on there, or wide front axles, and everything there's been good. The one thing I will say, I do have the re-releases. I have a 40th and I have a JJ, and even the new team car, the turnbuckles are awful. The ball cuts pop off, and that's the one thing I think Fan RC got right, is running titanium turnbuckles, which you don't get with the Associateds, and their ball cups are different, so you can actually adjust these on the car without them popping off. Which, you know, if you're doing setup and stuff, obviously that's advantageous. So really like those, super smooth. Haven't had one pop off or anything at a race yet. The only complaint that I have with the Fan RC car, and some of you probably noticed already, is my steering rack setup. So the body mount, I moved from the front back to the steering because the chassis flexes enough where it was starting to damage the front hole of my body, and I didn't want to deal with it. So like a lot of guys did back in the day, early 90s, moved them to the steering. But on the other side, the plastic nut is really soft and seems to strip out pretty easy. So what I did was I ran a longer screw all the way through that nut, and then I put a lock nut on top to keep that from coming loose, because when I originally went and practiced it, that was coming loose within a couple minutes, and my steering was really kind of wonky and stuff. So putting that in has solved it, and I ran, like I said, 4 race weekends with 4 heats, you know, so basically about 16 races on this car. Yeah, and it's been fine ever since. And like I said, quality-wise, I haven't broken a single thing in all those races. I try not to crash much, but it does happen. So the other thing on here is the servo. So just have a regular Reedy servo in there, but I am using a B7 servo mount. Mounts up just fine. So I've tossed that in there rather than just using the white blocks or the black blocks on each side. Just using a more modern day servo support in there, and that's worked out pretty well. And then I just cut the battery box and I run all my wires underneath to try to keep that clean. Transponder, I run a Fly Sky Noble, and that's been great. A lot of people with the battery cups, I don't know why people have problems with this, but you know, you run the screws and you run the battery brace, and then you have to take the screws out to get your battery out. Just buy the J Concepts thumb screws. They come with or maybe they don't. No, I think they did come with the threaded end there, so you can thread that in. You can undo these, take your battery out, get, no matter what you run, whether you run a Rolls brace like this or a stock brace that comes with the Associated, you know, you're trying to squeeze these ball cups together, and with a modern day LiPo hard case, that's just not happening. So for Speedo, I'm running the Hobby Wing XR10 stock spec G2. This is the low profile one, and I run this not only in my RC10 but also in my 870 and a couple other cars. In my B7 I am running the XR10 Pro, and in my B74.1 I do run a 610R black box. I wanted to try the Reedy, see what it's like, and I just don't have a lot of time on it. I've used one practice day on that thing, and I'm still kind of getting used to it. Foam, I just buy foam off Amazon. You can get 3/4 inch height foam, which works perfect. And I made just custom spacers that I run either in the back or the front, wherever I want the weight to be. I found in this particular car running a Shorty hardcase LiPo, which I run a ProTech, that I just run the battery all the way to the front. And then I'm just using 5mm plugs on that end. And I've never had to shift it back or felt like it needed to be shifted back. So I've liked the balance of the car so far. So I've left that that way. The other thing is, and Jason from RC10 Talk, I noticed it because I watched a ton of his RC10 videos. It seems like he always runs his wires through his bulkhead, and I don't know if that's because if you break a shock tower, you don't have to unsolder anything. You can just undo your 4 screws, pull the shock tower, and switch that out. I'm guessing that's his reasoning, but I never really saw him run it off to the side or through anywhere else. So I ran all mine through the bulkhead, the circle in there underneath the shock tower, in case anything does happen. And I've never broken an RC10 shock tower, but also it's not 1992 with low jumps and fluffy tracks. We're quad and triples and all that good stuff right now. So you're probably going to see some things break, but like I said, amazingly enough, in 4 race weekends, I haven't broken anything on this car. So it's been fantastic in that regard. On the back end, so running all the stock CVDs on there, I did bling out and buy some D-Hawk Racing aluminum hubs. Just want a little color in there, and I wanted to add a little rigidity. I also got their front spindles too. Those are coming, or steering knuckles, but I haven't seen them yet. But that was one thing I was going to upgrade there as well, just to add a little bit of durability. But like I said, after 4 race weekends, I didn't seem to have an issue. Diff is still good, nice and smooth on there. And this is where another advantage, I think, to the Fan RC is the slipper clutch is a B4 style slipper clutch with an octagon type pad. It is not the old stealth like ATC clutch that comes on the team car. So it's not, your slipper pad isn't between 2 plates and then, your spur on that. This allows you to readily get any spur gear basically off the shelf, because those spur gears are still readily available. If you strip out a spur gear in a team car, I don't know if a hobby shop's going to have one or not, but plenty of them have, the octagon style pad, which is what I run on my 870 as well. And then on my B5, I'm actually going to try it on this. Is Associated came out with a V2 conversion, which I think will work on this, which will allow you to run Octalock pads. So my goal is to run an Octalock pad on here with an R1 carbon fiber disc set. And that's what I have on my B5. That's also what I have on my B7. And so I'm going to order that conversion kit. It's about $35 and try that. But I do have a lot of the regular, B4 kind of octagon pad style spur gears, and they're readily available. So I may hold off on that because it's really not needed. One complaint I have heard on the Fan RC, and it's true, is the transmissions are really tight after assembly. Mine seem to have like a small tight spot or a hitch, and after a practice, that wasn't an issue. So mine's free, broke in, diff feels fine as well. So not a problem there, and it's been great. The motor of choice on here, I didn't have really anything lying around. So I just I had an Amazon gift card and I wanted to find something cheap. So I tried a Surplus V6 Rocket 21.5, and I am impressed. It's actually fairly good. I do not notice a whole lot of difference between that and my R1 motors, to be honest with you. Heat wise, it doesn't build up really any heat. Power wise, it always seems to have plenty of power. So really no complaints there on the Surplus Rocket. So ironically, like I said, $80 motor off Amazon has turned out pretty well. And like I said, I kind of put it in there because I thought, well, I'll race this maybe like a weekend or two. And now I've raced it really since December. And it's really the car I like taking to the track because I enjoy racing it. And I probably will take my B5 I always take my B5 as my backup, but I do have to race that a little bit more one of these days as well, because that's a great car. The other thing I was doing, obviously the wing tubes are removed from the bulkhead, but I also did cut the sides because you're never going to use them. And so modification, like a lot of people have done back in the day, is just cut that piece off there. So I did that. And then other than that, I bought a whole bunch of spares and I've never used them for the Fan RC10. So I bought a ton, and like I said, I thought, well, I'll break an arm or something will happen. I always remember as a kid replacing stuff, and maybe driving's got better, or, you know, like I said, I don't think the tracks are any more forgiving because more is like driving on asphalt. I mean, we run slicks there, so I am running J Concepts Smoothie 2s with a front thick sidewall on J Concepts rims. Same rims as these. I just use these, put these on when I'm home to put my car on the shelf while it's sitting around, and I'm moving on to other stuff. But really, the only other thing I could see is maybe doing a big bore upgrade to this, maybe doing a 12 millimeter shock setup on this. Dragon Punch makes, you know, specific towers for that as well. And I thought about doing that, and instead of doing that, I wanted to kind of leave this stock, you know, so when people wanted my opinion of the Fan RC, it's like, hey, it's pretty much out of the box like this. In no other modifications. I ran it and I've had a great time. I am building a long arm RC10 with a Dragon Punch chassis, and I am going to do either 12 or 13 millimeter big bores on that car, just to see how far an RC10 can come along versus anything else that's out there, or see how it compares to my B5 as well, because I really enjoy racing that car. The B7 up there, not so much. That thing can pretty much go in the trash. But the RC10 is great. And like I said, if you're in the market for an RC10 and you're trying to debate between a 40th, you know, a JJ Riri, you know, or the team car, you know, if you can just take it out and kind of enjoy it in your backyard, any of those will be fine. You know, if you're looking to get into vintage racing, unfortunately for me, MHOR does not have a vintage class, so I just run regular with everybody else with their B7s and 5.0 elites and take it from there. But if you are looking at the racing side of things, where you may do a vintage race, or you may want to, you know, race it in one of your classes at your local track, I really think it's hard to beat the Fan RC10 Graphite. Like I said, for cost wise, you know, I got this for $350. Comes with spare sets of arms, some spare parts, some small miscellaneous tools, and you get extra ball cups, hardware on some items, and durability wise, it's been fantastic. And setup wise, everything is just as good as is associated. You know, fit, finish, all that's there. It's really, you know, what do you want to do? But if you are going to race, I would point you more towards a Fan RC10 Graphite than I would maybe the team car. Because like I said, you pay about $50 more for a team car, and I don't think you get a lot of the cool stuff. You don't get the carbon towers and world style brace. And then, like I said, with the transmission, you don't get the B4 style slipper, which makes spur gears a lot more accessible. Or you may have them already, like I had mine from my Yokomos and some of the other associated cars I had back in the day. So I didn't have to buy a special spur gear. Plus, you could get different sizes. I think the team car comes with an 87, which is way too tall for, I think, anything else that's out there. I'm running a 72 spur with a 27 Trinity lightweight pinion, like I ran on my B5. Pretty much I kind of copied that, and it's been fine. So just wanted to do a quick video. And if you are looking at a Riri RC10 and wondering what you should buy, and you are planning on racing, Fan RC10 Graphite is absolutely the way to go. I will try to get on MHOR's page and link some of the YouTube videos for the races this was in. If not, I plan on racing it here over the next weekend or two. And what I'll do is maybe just do an update video on that. Maybe do a video from the track, how I have mine set up, and going through that as far as my radio settings, you know, the tire setup, the tire prep, and going through the qualifiers and into the main there. But again, you can't go wrong with this excellent car. You know, check out Go Fast Hobbies. I know they have them in stock. I think they also have the blue edition as well. So as well as, I think, Hobby Action down in Arizona. So I think those are the two I've been reaching out to buy either my kits or my parts for my Fan RC car. As well as some other stuff too. And then J Concepts is making a ton of stuff. You know, they make the wing buttons. They do make the bell cranks. They make the fancy motor plate, which I'd like to get, but they're always out of stock. So, like I said, the only thing I could get was the wing buttons and then the thumb screw buttons for the battery post. And that's about it. But everything else on this is stock as it comes, and with a few minor exceptions that I pointed out. And you can take this to the track and have a great time. And they are surprisingly really competitive, even against today's modern cars, if you get them set up correctly with modern electronics as well. So look for the race report soon. Maybe we'll do that in a couple weeks, but in the meantime, I'll try to get the 870 fixed, and we'll do an update video on that as well. And then maybe we'll just take them both to the track and do kind of a combo video on what we're doing there with these old cars. So look for that soon. Thanks.